All right, hey guys, Josh Beecraft here. Another 2 millimeter shift. This is probably more like a 10 millimeter shift if you actually do it. This is something I've taught students for a long time how to do, and the sort of, without bearing the lead, right? We're going to talk about communication, and more specifically, we're going to talk about communicating on video or from stage or in a place where it's important for you to have all the right kind of things in place for you to be able to know what you're talking about, right? First off, you have to know what you're talking about. That should go without saying, but let's talk about how it gets communicated, right? Because there's a lot of smart people that really struggle to get on camera. They really struggle to get up in front of a room, and it's totally okay. But they have wisdom to share with the world, and they're kind of stuck not being able to share it in the medium that people love to consume the most. So I want to talk about this concept, and I don't care how good you are as a communicator. What I'm about to tell you can help you, period. I discovered this by accident. When I was younger, I got into magic, and I got into magic for a number of reasons, mostly because I wanted to know how it works, right? On my college aptitude test, there's this test that kind of tells you what you might be good at. I think we took it in 11th grade right before they pitched us on college to figure out, hey, it looks like you're good at this. You should go into this field, right? Well, mine was flat to the left and flat to the right, and then one thing was spiked up in the middle, and that was mechanical inclination, which the easy way to understand is that I love to know how things work. I can't look at the world without trying to figure out how it works, including communication, including magic, which is what actually got me in to magic, right? A juggler that I knew showed a couple tricks, and I was hooked, man. I was down at the magic shop the next day, and I'm like learning these little self-working kind of magic tricks and whatnot. 6 months later, the guy that owned the store told me he couldn't support my habit anymore. I needed to find a new dealer for my newfound drug, right? So I went to internet and books, and it became an obsession to the point where I was a professional magician for over a decade, right? To do that, being the shy, weird kid in high school that didn't understand social dynamics or communication or anything, I had to figure out how to perform this stuff at some point. In fact, I remember the day I worked in car audio at the time, and we were out to dinner at a place that I still wish existed. Man, they had the best cheese bread ever. It was a pool hall called GT's, and we would go out there sometimes when these reps would come into town. And of course, they'd buy us dinner, and we'd have a good time, and they'd schmooze us because we were selling their products. Well, this particular guy was a salesman, and he's like the salesman that you can see coming from across the room, right? The full smile that has a little sparkle that you can see as soon as he looks at you, right? He makes direct eye contact. He's well-shaven at the time. It was years and years ago. He had one of the first Blackberries ever, so you were like, oh, that dude's important, right? All the clothes fit right, like just the oozed I sell stuff, right? And it's funny, being in this professional world now, I respect that. Back then, I thought he was kind of a little bit of a tool, right? I was like, I don't know about this guy. He had some flexible morals and whatnot as well, and it wasn't my vibe. However, all the guys told me to show him a trick. And I showed him a trick I was working on reluctantly because I didn't care about performing this stuff. And he was very direct with me. And it's probably one of the biggest favors I ever got, even though I hated him for it. He's like, dude, that was a cool trick. He's like, but man, you suck at presenting it. And he was just blunt. Just, you suck at presenting this. And I was like, who the frick do you think you are? Like, I was so mad, right? For a couple days, I stewed on this. Like, that frickin' Dave, like, you're like, this is crap. Like, I didn't even get into this to show people. I didn't want to show them anyways, right? And I was, a 19 or 20-year-old kid going through my emotions on being judged harshly by somebody that, even though I was questionable about, I probably looked up to in a certain way just because of their ability to impact the world was so different than mine, right? I was shy and kind of weird and awkward and didn't know how to do that thing that he does. So I finally got over myself and went, I got to figure this out. I didn't know how to figure this out. Like, I wasn't like, oh, I got to figure out how to sell something, or I got to figure out how to present magic or whatever. It was more of like, I don't know what to do to solve this problem this guy just created for me. And the only thing that made sense to me at the time was to mimic the magicians that I looked up to. Now, there's a few of them. If you're in the magic world, you'll know names like Bill Malone or Jay Sankey, David Aker, a lot of other people, right, that are just wildly good at communicating magic and presenting it in a way that's really entertaining. And I went, maybe if I just copied these guys and I said the words they said, I said it the way that they said it, and I had the same energy about myself when I said it. If I practiced that, maybe I could get good at that part of it, right? And it was borderline like hesitant math. I was like, well, I think that makes sense. Later in life, I find out that communication is really broken down between three things. It's what you say, how you say it, and the body language you have when you say it, right? So it's the actual words, the tonality, and the body language. Those all three together create communication. What's interesting about that is I used to think communication was words. When I think words, it's easy to think of them as a mental construct, right? Like they're just words. The truth is, communication is a physiology that needs to be practiced, period. It's a muscle memory. It's not a understanding of language or structure, although those things help, right? But communicating with a certain amount of authority or intention or whatnot is really just a muscle memory sort of thing. So as I started doing that, I got really good at presenting magic. And what it turned into when I got into sort of my marketing career is it got really good at just me talking to people in general and communicating about the things I'm passionate about. I had a muscle memory for it. And I went, what if I just teach people this? Because I learned it by accident, and that's the thing I get complimented on the most. So here's what I'm going to give you. This is the shift, right? And I said this is why this might be a 10 millimeter shift for some of you, because you can absolutely become a world-class speaker just by understanding these three things. Now, there's other nuances in there. I'm not going to diminish what speaking coaches do. There's real value to that. Understanding structure and language and stuff, real value to that. But with nothing else, I promise you, just these three things, you can become really good at getting on camera, at getting on a stage, or influencing from a position of one to many just by knowing this. So here's the things. This is the whole formula. You are going to pick somebody that you admire and look up to for the way they communicate. Doesn't matter who it is. Doesn't matter if it's Oprah Winfrey, Barack Obama, Donald Trump, or Elon Musk, or whoever it is. It doesn't matter. You're going to look at them and go, I love the way they communicate. And what you're going to do is in your downtime, this is time while you're driving alone, right? So instead of singing a song, you're going to practice kind of mimicking them, right? Like almost trying to do an impersonation of them. Now, the goal isn't to impersonate them. It's to extract out of your physiology the type of energy that they can convey, right? And you're going to do that while you're in the shower, right? While you're driving, while you're out for a walk, whatever it is, and you're going to do it out loud, and you're going to do it in your body, not in your mind, right? So your mouth has to be moving, vocal cords have to be going, breathing has to be part of it, right? And if you're moving your body, all the better, right? It's really good to do out for a walk because your whole body is involved in the process then. And if you get animated about it, you get serious and you're, like almost like you're actually up on stage, like, I'm going to tell you about this, and you're moving your hands and you're doing the stuff. What it sends a signal to your brain is to build this connection to this idea with every part of your body, right? It's going to change the way that your body understands how to communicate in those particular situations. If you do that enough, what you're going to create is a trigger in your body. Somebody says, I need you to talk. It doesn't matter how bad you feel. It doesn't matter what you've got going on in life. You will be able to flip a switch into that muscle memory and just go, right? Now, I said in the beginning, you have to know what you're talking about, because if you're confident about something that's technically incorrect, right, that can go a different direction for you. But listen, you'll learn that. That's not a problem. Knowledge is learnable, right? That's the whole point of it. This particular method of delivering content, speaking of any sort, the reason I'm able to do what I'm doing right now this minute is because those moments in my car, I put in that time, right? Those moments out on for a walk, I put in that time. And I created a muscle memory out of it. And what happened was, it wasn't the magicians I looked up to the most, or the marketers I looked up to the most, or the business people I looked up to the most. It was all of them from my perspective. It became my style. It became the way I communicate now. And people look at me sometimes and go, I want to communicate like Josh. And I go, that's weird to me because I was never that guy. But today I am, right? And I have been for many, many years now. But the reason is I put some attention on it, and I just use that downtime to build muscle memory. So if you want to be able to get on video, if you want to be able to do Facebook Lives, whatever, then this is what you want to be doing. And here's what I'm going to tell you to do to get really used to it, to make it really simple. I challenge a lot of people to do this. You're going to do Facebook Lives. You're going to do it with your phone. Just turn on your phone camera. You don't have to go live, but turn on your camera and practice out loud with the camera on you, with it in your hand, so you build a muscle memory for this. And then one of these days, you do that for 2, 3, 4 days, right? With whatever it is you're going to say. Practice it over and over. Then go hit that live button and just say the same thing again. Right? You're going to say it in a way that nobody's ever heard you talk before because you put some time into adjusting how you talk. They're going to go, wow, you're doing really great at this. And then you're going to do it again and again. And then you're going to fail it at one time because you didn't put the work in. And then maybe you'll fail it again a little bit where it didn't feel as good, but then you're going to go, I know what to do. And you're going to amp it back up. And what I challenge people to do is for 30 days in a row, go live on Facebook. Put that time in for 30 solid days because I know for a fact it will pay you for years and years and years and years to come. The relationships I have, the world that I live in right now is a direct result of this one skill that I put the time into. So I hope that's helpful to you. We'll see you on the next one.